You ever wake up one morning thinking the worst thing you'll deal with is maybe a few weeds in the garden, only to find out someone's decided to bulldoze your entire life? Yeah, that happened. Bulldoze it clean. This ain't his land anymore. That's what the HOA President Diane Holloway screamed at the operator, waving her clipboard like she was directing a war movie. I watched as that massive yellow machine fired up, tore through my vegetable beds, 3 years of sweat and patience flattened in half a minute. The crazy part, they were stealing everything I'd built, over $89 in so-called overdue HOA fees. The sun was just rising, warm light filtering through the oaks. I stood there, frozen knuckles white on my phone, while neighbors filmed the wreckage on their iPhones like they'd paid for front row seats. They thought I was just some stubborn farmer who'd lost his mind picking a fight with the HOA. What nobody realized, in my family, tactical skills get passed around the dinner table like salt and pepper. Our family meetings start with armed target. Response time 180 seconds. They had no clue who they were messing with, and this was just the opening act. That bulldozer didn't stop at my tomatoes. The treads crushed my chicken coop, splintered wood, and panicked chickens everywhere, not even pausing as it rolled over the fence posts I'd poured concrete for last summer. Hours and hours of honest work gone in a blink. Meanwhile, up in the operator's cage, Diane herself, self-crowned queen of our little lakefront world, was live streaming the whole thing, barking orders. Make sure you get the illegal dock, too. Like she was the hero in some environmental action film. She pointed at the walkway I'd built with my own hands, called it a complete code violation environmental hazard. And the real punchline: this woman drove a gas-guzzling SUV, lived in a house so big it could fit my whole farm inside twice. But she'd been circling me for months, ever since I refused to join her precious conservation fund. My 15 acres of organic dirt didn't fit her shiny vision of lakeside paradise. But see, Diane made a mistake. She thought I'd just roll over and accept it like everyone else. That's when I reached into my shirt pocket and flicked on my body cam, old habits from law enforcement days. The red light started blinking and I radioed in, calm as you please. Target initiated hostile action. All units converge. Our family doesn't mess around. Sarah, my daughter, would check the legal end. Jake would get the drone up. Aunt Martha. She'd coordinate like she always did. 20 years of emergency management drilled into her. So while Diane's up there putting on a social media show, my family was already on the move. I kept my camera rolling, narrating to the mic's standard protocol. 180-second window starts now. The bulldozer operator was sweating bullets, just a guy caught in something way over his pay grade. Diane kept broadcasting to her followers about community protection, painting herself as some kind of martyr for the lake. But the real story: this was a land grab, pure and simple, dressed up as community service. But while she played to the crowd, my family was documenting everything. Sarah, legal research; Jake, video and drone coverage; Aunt Martha, incident command. To the neighbors, maybe we looked like any other farm family, but trust me, we were a precision instrument when the crisis hit. Just then that bulldozer's blade went for my greenhouse. I swear my heart stopped. Months of hydroponic lettuce and water sensors, all on the line. That greenhouse was tracking the lake's water quality, the evidence they didn't want found. But here's the twist: Diane, in her giddy live streaming, caught a document sticking out of her clipboard. Just for a second, but I saw a logo. Didn't belong to any EPA. That little slip, that was the thread I'd pulled to unravel this whole mess. The crowd of neighbors thickened, some looking genuinely worried about her claims, others just eager for a show. Mrs. Chin muttered in Mandarin, shaking her head, probably wondering how tomatoes could be such a threat. Bob Martinez down the shore just looked annoyed. He's been drinking water filtered through my land for years. No complaints. Then my phone started buzzing, family group chat blowing up. Everyone was in position. Diane's sneak attack was about to backfire. She thought she'd caught me off guard. What she did was trip the family defense system. Suddenly the bulldozer choked and died. Silence fell, just 43 seconds of it before Sarah pulled up in her Honda. calm, precise, scanning the scene like she'd done in crisis negotiations 100 times. Jake's truck was next loaded with tech. Aunt Martha closed the triangle, all business cataloging the disaster like a pro. Feels like a coordinated incident, she said. Multiple agencies, heavy equipment media. Someone planned this. She was already running her emergency protocols. Our family operates on a simple rule: evidence before violence. It's kept us out of more trouble than I can count. Within minutes, we were working the scene. Jake's drone buzzed overhead, Sarah double-checking the paperwork Diane claimed gave her authority. First red flag, the environmental order's reference number matched a pothole permit from last month. Jake looked up from his tablet, grinning. Either this is the world's biggest coincidence or someone's lazy. Sarah flagged missing signatures, no OSHA safety gear, none of the legal requirements for a real cleanup. And the sensor data for my greenhouse pristine. Not a trace of hazardous chemicals, just clean readings that made a joke of Diane's accusations. Even Jake, who'd butted heads with me over old school versus tech, admitted the proof was all there. While Martha mapped out every detail, she said Diane's been planning this for months, maybe years. What's her real endgame? Suddenly it clicked: the logo Sarah found on that document, Lakeshore Marina Development. Not about conservation at all, but turning our community into a luxury resort. Right about then, the real cavalry arrived, a government sedan county sheriff, all choreographed with the kind of precision you get from years of emergency response. The OSHA inspector documented 8 violations in 10 minutes. Diane's face when they shut her operation down, worth every destroyed tomato. She went live again, shrieking about community sabotage while her construction crew packed up as fast as they could. I overheard a worker mutter, "Thank God." I was scared about those gas canisters they wanted us to bury. That told me everything. This wasn't just about fees, this was fraud. Turns out Diane's hired crew had already been fined for fake hazardous cleanups in another county. And her digital tricks didn't stop there. The next day, she set up Bluetooth beacons around the lake, auto-fining neighbors for ecological violations through her HOA app. Even the mailman got hit. She even convinced the county to cut off my irrigation water based on made-up anonymous reports. But Jake cracked her app wide open, traced it all back to you. Guessed it. Lakeshore Marina Development. Every remediated acre added $200,000 in loan collateral for their $15 million project. Diane was a 35% stakeholder. Now her motive was crystal clear. Neighbors started rallying, angry at fines and surveillance. Bob Martinez's garage turned into a war room, 40 people trading horror stories. Even veterans from my therapy group stepped up. We've seen this kind of power grab before. Never ends with the first target. They wanted to help. As the legal pressure mounted, Diane doubled down. But our evidence was ironclad: fraudulent orders, fake contamination photos ripped from a mining disaster 3 states away, unauthorized tech, the works. Sarah's legal skills and Jake's data nailed every angle. When we presented at the county board meeting, it turned into a full-blown drama. Diane rolled out her best corporate presentation, 40 slides, charts, even a $28 million budget for remediation. Then I called up Dave, the construction supervisor. He played a recording Diane, clear as day, instructing him to fake contamination. Bury paint cans, scatter oil-stained soil. We need evidence for the insurance claim. The board's faces turned white. Diane stammered something about context, but it was over. Jake traced the money from the HOA to Diane's conservation fund to the marina developer. The board rescinded all her orders on the spot, and the sheriff announced a full criminal investigation. Diane's exit was pure theater, vowing, "This isn't over like a bad movie villain." And I'll tell you, that chilled down my spine. It wasn't gone yet. That night, I walked the dock I'd rebuilt, sunsetting in gold across the water, and found Diane waiting. Tears raged desperation, a weapon glinting in her hand. "You destroyed everything," she said. Sarah's voice came calm in my earpiece, talking her down with the same skills that had saved lives. Deputies moved in. Diane collapsed, sobbing, and it ended quietly. The real storm was over. The days that followed, neighbors brought casseroles. Mrs. Chen gave me dumplings. Bob organized a dock raising. We put up a new sign, Silverbrook Community governed by county and state law. No HOA authority. It wasn't just about the rules, it was a promise real community, not tyranny. And just when I thought peace had returned, a letter arrived from some big development firm. "We won't make the same mistakes as Mrs. Holloway." I looked at my family, the sun, the lake. "You got plans for next week," I called out to Sarah. "Looks like round two's on the way." So let me ask you, what do you think should happen to HOA presidents who abuse their power like that? Ever gone toe-to-toe with someone who thought the rules didn't apply to them? Drop your stories below. Because out here, the fight for justice is never really over. And I can promise you this, as long as families stick together and neighbors remember what real community means, there's hope, even when the bulldozers roll in.